Hi. Hi.
Okay,
Mary?
just smile at the camera and I'm going to do my intro.
Wave. Smile and wave.
Hey everybody. Hi everybody. Welcome back to the Spiritual Hippie Learning Tribe. If this is your first time, which it probably is because this is only our third video. Just saying. Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining us. It is I, your girl, Miss Essie, the Boughetto Hippie, and I have a special guest, Lee Eric Smith from A Message from God. For those of you who do not know, that is a wonderful Facebook page with you're like up to 1.2 million likes and followers.
Yeah. What started probably about 11 years ago as a online project, a book that I felt divinely inspired to write. It's written in the voice of God in very simple, easy to access language. It's not meant to sit inside of any particular theology. But what's grown out of it is this worldwide community of people who come together. We pray each day. It's really all about love and bringing people together. And it's not about the typical things that usually divide even believers along religious lines. So it's just a very warm, welcoming community. Just very excited about it. It's doing a lot of good in the world.
Awesome. I was just telling y'all his name, but okay. I'm just kidding, because what I love most about him is that he is my fabulous partner in parenting, and Lee Eric Smith Sr., because there is a Lee Eric Smith Jr. So thank you for that as well. But today, before we both get on a tangent about him, what we're talking about today is, hold on, gotta get my notebook, because I didn't even tell him what today's subject was, because y'all don't get it. Like,
she likes to surprise me.
He operates just straight off the cuff. Like, it is truly, he's mind-blowing. So I'm very excited to talk to him about this kind of stuff outside of just he and I vibing on the living room couch. So we're going to bring it to you.
No pressure on me whatsoever.
You better deliver. But today I'm going to be talking about something that I have never actually spoken to him about, because it has come to me in my recent meditations, and that is the 5 basic truths of God.
Okay.
So, much like Lee, we're in the same vein. I'm more on the hippie spiritual side. So, but when he says that, you know, even his channel it's not based on religion, neither is this. I believe that there's one God, and these are his 5 basic truths. Now, how they show up in your spiritual beliefs, in your religion, you meditate on it and work that out, but this is how they came to me. And this is what they are. God is love. God is in all. God is everywhere. God is in everything. And God knows everything.
I like that. It's consistent with what I first began learning. Part of what brought me down the spiritual journey that I'm on now is I began attending a church in Miami called the Universal Truth Center for Better Living. And that was where I first ran across the concept of God being, there only being one entity in the universe, and that being God. We're all just pieces of God expressing differently. So the idea was not just that God is omniscient, which, you know, is having all the knowledge, but the idea is that God is also all of the knowledge. It's not just having access to this massive library of information, it's being the information.
So God is not in the Akashic records.
God is the...
Hey, spiritual folk, let me change them terms a little bit. The knowledge is the Akashic records, right? It's the records where everything, all potentialities are written, blah, blah. So God is not in the Akashic records. That's not where you go to find him. God is the record.
Well, both, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no, you know, for me personally, a lot of it kind of even goes back to what science refers to as the Big Bang. You know, I'm not of the mind that you have spirituality over here and science over here.
No.
Really, at the core, both of these disciplines are built around humans trying to explain things, the phenomena that happens around us. and it's different approaches to it. So when we start with the Big Bang, that's the one thing, and everything that we experience now comes out of that. And so and everything that exists in this universe comes out of that one occurrence, that one event.
Okay, hold on.
The singularity.
Something just popped in my head. I'm so sorry, but this is what just popped in my head. Okay, I'm gonna say it. Y'all don't judge me. Don't shoot the messenger.
Judge him.
So everything comes from the Big Bang, right? So God would be the Big Bang, or in the Big Bang. Okay, let me keep it moving because this is okay. So a lot of things just merged. We call God our Father, and God is our Father, right? So just like our earthly father, if we came from our spiritual father through the Big Bang, then is the Big Bang like the first spiritual orgasm? Like, was that was that like God, boom, that was his bang, and then he created.
Y'all remember when I said judger?
No, and then it created everything. And then but I thought women were the ultimate creators. I'm confused now. So but you know what? But God is not male nor female.
I was just about to
God is not male nor female. I checked myself.
I was just about to get to that. Yeah, I personally, I use, Heavenly Father as a convenience more, but it's been many, many years since I have let go of the idea of God being, having the male characteristics as apart from the female characteristics. Earlier on, I would use the phrase Father, Mother, God to make sure to acknowledge. But then, it really comes down to this. And if you ever check me out on A Message from God on the Facebook, you'll hear me refer to God like it's one syllable.
Right.
So you can say he, you can say she, you can say God. All of it is one syllable. So when
Why not they?
You can call it they. But to me, the most accurate would simply just be God.
Right.
So I don't, when I get to, a place where I would ordinarily say he or even say she, I just say God.
I do too. God is his pronoun. God is the name, the pronoun, the verb, the subject, the everything. Yeah. It is God. And God is love. Right? So if you're not feeling love from it, then it is not of God. It did not come from God. How do you? Well, that's where we're going down one by one, and we're going to hit them all. So God is love. Go. Is God not love? If something happens that is not of love, then was that of God?
Of course it was.
Huh.
Because it's all of God. We just moments ago we said everything in the universe comes out of God, including love. So yes, God is love, but God is also hate. God is light and God is darkness. God is, quote, good. God is evil. What happens
Those aren't human manifestations, though?
They are how we were given the ability to assign names to things. And so as we experience these things, we define them relative to what they mean to us. And so, because, what one person may call good, and we can look no further than the recent presidential election than this, is somebody else's evil, and vice versa.
Well, and that's what I was kind of getting to. So God is not necessarily evil or good. He just is. God is. How we interpret it is evil, good, positive, negative, blah, blah, blah. God is. It just is.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. God is in all, and God is everywhere. Any objections to those?
Well, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, which is God isn't just everywhere, God is everything.
Okay, we're getting into that. But do you object to those? God is everywhere and in all?
I tried to have a pre-interview where we could kind of get on the same page.
No.
But she wanted to.
Yup, off the cuff, boo. But you agree with that one. Okay. Because I'm trying to get us down here now. I got some good stuff. God is in everything. Now, here's the other one. Here's the other thing. God knows everything, which is a slight alternative. It's not an alternative, it's the correction, I would say. But the King James version of the Bible, whole nother video, says that God knows all. And a lot of versions say God knows all. When I meditated on that, that has never felt right to me. I go back and you look at like study Bibles or the original Bible, like more original translations of the Bible, and it does not say God knows all. It says God knows everything, right? And so I went back to meditate on that. And this is what came to me. If God knows all, then it deletes or negates that he gave us free will. Because if I have free will, then what I'm going to do is not known until I do it. It is not known to anyone. So if God knows all, then that means that he already knows what's going to happen, which means I don't have free will. But he says I have free will, and I believe God. So if I believe that I have free will as given to me by God, then how could I reconcile that he knows all? So then you go back to God knows everything. Two separate words. Everything. So for me, when I meditated on that, it came as, yep, God may not know exactly what I'm going to do because I have free will. However, God knows absolutely every single 188 trillion gajillion possibilities of what I can do, of what could happen in that moment. Ooh, what's that show you had me watching? Everybody had masks on before the pandemic, and then there was the blue man who was so sexy, but he knew like everything that was going to happen, and he was 20 seconds ahead.
Watchman.
Bam. Bam. God is like the Blue Watchman dude.
Wow.
Yeah. He knows all of everything in one moment in this single point in time.
Well, I think that's instructive in the way, so she's referring to the HBO series, critically acclaimed Watchmen, which the character you're referring to, because I'm a comic nerd, was Dr. Manhattan. And Dr. Manhattan, as a result of a nuclear accident or whatever, became kind of displaced. And so the way he experiences time is different than the way we do. Everything is happening in one moment of now for this character. I think that's a pretty good analogy. The obvious question is, for an entity that is assumed to predate time,
right,
and will endure beyond the end of time, how does an entity like that count time? Like,
there is no time.
Time doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So the only time that matters to that individual or exists is right now.
Now.
So it's all happening right now. To God. There's not a then and now. And so one of the things that I think is useful for the question you pose relative to free will is, as humans living on life as a sequence of events, on a timeline, if you will, where we make choices and those choices influence the next thing to come down the pipe. We're in a very finite experience, and that's by design. But there is a larger reality where what we would call predestination, i.e. God knows everything that you're going to do before you do it, and free will, nobody knows what I'm going to do before I do it. There has to be a larger reality where these two
can coexist
peacefully. And the way that it's been kind of revealed to me is that the boundary between free will and predestination is awareness. In other words, you can't choose from something that you're not aware of.
You have a choice.
Right. It's not in which case, on the things that you don't have awareness of, you could argue that there's some level of predestination going to happen there.
But that's
Right.
just other people doing their thing and moving, and I'm just kind of drifting along in the current. If I'm not paddling, then I'm drifting along on other people's energy waves.
But even then, the choice to not paddle is a choice. to
Right.
not
That's what
paddle.
I'm saying. And that's
Right.
my no, and that is exactly my point. I have a choice. I have a choice to do something. I have a choice to not do something. But whatever it is, it's still my choice.
Right.
So when you go then to other passages in the Bible, one of them particularly popped out, which is, y'all ready for this? All right. The whole, oh, he ready. He just doesn't know I'm about to hit him with it. Okay, so there's another passage in the Bible that states your steps are ordered. So I had to go back and I meditated on that. And I was like, okay, so if what I am going to do is not done, it's not known until I do it, what does it mean to have my steps ordered? And the traditional King James Version did not sit well. Because again, that for me, that went back to the whole predestination. That you are going to end up in this space over here. And so your steps are ordered means that these are the things that you're already predestined to do so you can end up where you're supposed to end up. Okay. So what ended up sticking was your steps are ordered. Not ordered in the sense of you must do this, that, and the other, but in the sense that step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. There is a way to bake a cake. Now you may be baking a chocolate cake, I may bake a bundt cake, he may bake a lemon cake, but you still have to preheat the oven. You still have to grease your cake pan. You know what I'm saying? There are still things that you need to do, even though you have the personal choice of what type of cake you make, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? A little bit?
I just started thinking about cake.
Well, let me pull your attention back around real quick.
Chocolate.
Because when I went back and this was recently, was like, So the Bible, Bible, basic instructions before leaving earth, gives me all of the instructions I need to properly live, I feel, the way I'm supposed to live while I'm having this human experience. So somewhere in that book has got to be the instructions for baking this cake, right? So take out the cake and create the life that you want. And instead of a recipe card for creating the life that you want, you simply do what God did. And when God wanted to create life, well, first, what'd he do?
Let there be light. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding,
I'm sorry.
ding, ding.
What is let there be light?
Okay, thank you, Alex. Hi, Alex. Yes, but the order in which God created the world, created the universe, is found right there in the book of Genesis. It's only 7 steps. I don't know. Maybe somebody should come up with a program that outlines and defines the 7 steps to creating life the way you want it, based on the way God created in the book of Genesis. If anybody would like to speak on that, if there's any information that anyone has.
That was for me, y'all.
Would you like to expound? What do you mean?
Yes. So, thank you, Esther. I'm sorry.
Stop.
Hippie. She's referring to a book that I'm working on called The Genesis Revelation, which eventually led to one of the revelations that came out of that is that what we usually call a creative series of events, the creation, on the first day God created light, on the second day atmosphere, third day fertile earth, et cetera, as outlined in the book of Genesis. More often than not, we think of that as a sequence of events that happened a long time ago. And you can get into many arguments with different believers about, when earth was created. But what God's revealed to me is that creation is a cyclical process. It's ongoing. It doesn't stop. The universe is still being created right now. Remember what we said a moment ago about it all being one time to God. So creation is still in process right now. And if creation is a process, then you go back and look at those sequence of events that are outlined in the book of Genesis, and you come up with what I believe is kind of a prototype, a roadmap, if you will, a series of instructions for creating whatever it is you want to create. And it starts with light, which is the thing that sets everything on this planet going. I compare that to having a vision. Once you have light, atmosphere comes after that. You got to have the right climate for things to grow that you want to have grow. After that comes fertile soil, because if you plant the right seed in the wrong soil, you won't get the results that you're looking for. And so we always have to focus energy on making sure that the soil is actually fertile for the things that we're trying to grow. And then from there, there's sowing seed, cultivating, and harvesting. And then what is referred to as on the seventh day he rested. Well, let me get back to the sixth day. On the sixth day was when God created mankind, humanity. There's a whole nother issue there as to whether or not mankind was with the body or not with the body. That's another conversation. But the comparison that I make is for harvest. This is the day when God presented it all to Adam and Eve, or to man and woman, male and female. Let's just say male and female, because we're not sure they had forms at that point.
They didn't.
But he presented it to them and said, here, and he gave them all the blessings. You'll be able to, you are created in our image and likeness, which is to say we are created to be creators, meaning that the whole process that came before, everything up to that point, we're able to use to create things in our lives. And then on the seventh day, God rested, because creating things is work. And on the seventh day is when we're supposed to back up. The seventh part of the process is to back up, relax, recoup, and then start the cycle over again. And it's by this perpetual repeating of the cycle. If we're consistent and disciplined about the vision that we have and making sure that the conditions are right, we can create not just anything we want, but more than enough of whatever it is we want.
Hey, yes! That is a whole word. Oh my God. Darling, thank you.
You're welcome.
You are so special to me. Like, real talk. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank all of you all for joining us. Ain't nothing I need to say, but stay blessed and we'll see you next time on the Spiritual Hippie Learning Tribe. Bye.
Hi, Spiritual Hippie Learning Tribe. My name's Lee Eric Smith, and I'm the writer behind A Message from God, and I'm glad to be here on the channel. If you'd like to read the book, it's called A Message from God. You can find it at amessagefromgod.org, and just click on Read It Now. The instructions I was given in writing it was to make sure that it's available at no cost, and which it is, online. If you'd like to follow us on Facebook, just look us up, A Message from God on Facebook. And if you see the image with the cloud in it that has 1.2 million followers, that's us. Go ahead and click us. We do prayers virtually 4 out of 5 weekdays, and look forward to having you join us on there.